let us take you to the place inside your mind where thoughts divide and mysteries unwind. Join us every Monday evening right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you will catch the Fenton Perspective with our great host, Lorian Fenton. Come listen in as she shares her amazing stories from the past to present, along with all of her guest secrets to the future. That's the Fenton Perspective every Monday evening right here from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Revolution Radio. Oh, and you don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
Several years ago, I was developing a very severe situation. I called it my flippy heart. It was doing not good things, and I did not want to go to a medical doctor because I just knew they would give me a cover-up pill. I didn't want to get onto that sort of thing at all. When I learned it was garlic and cayenne, and cayenne is a healer. It is a wonderful herb. I said, I think I'm onto something here. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be without it. It did wonderful things for me.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Aloha, everybody, and welcome to Stargate Cosmos. We got feedback. All right, here we go. I'm your host, Janet Lessin, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Alex Lessin. This is Revolution Radio, Studio B. Our producer is Thomas Becker, also known as a Mad Painter, and our guest today is Dan Cooper. He's returning after, about 6 months or something, so he's going to catch up and tell us about what's going on. Sash, do you want to say hi?
Looking forward to it.
Okay. So, Dan, welcome back to the show. How you been? It's been a long time.
Yes, but I have a lot of... You're breaking up a lot. Is that going on with you, Thomas?
I'm not sure.
Thomas? No, sounds good to me.
She's not breaking up on your end?
No.
Okay.
No, you're not breaking up on our end.
She does have a tendency to break up a little bit because they're in Hawaii.
Right.
Anyway, we can hear you if you want to go ahead and start telling us about what's been going on with you for the last...
Yeah, I can barely...
Or whatever you want. Personal things.
I'm only giving some of the words, Thomas.
All right, drop off and I'll call you back.
You're going to call me back?
Okay, he'll react. Okay. Anyway, while he's coming back... Dan is a genetically engineered super soldier by the Japanese scientists in 1952, and he was delivered through his surrogate mother on March 2nd, 1953 at Samson Air Force Base. It's a now closed US Air Force Base, but still an open undersea naval base. And he was born into one of the U.S. military secret space program, SSPs. Are you back with us?
How are you doing, Janet?
We're doing great. We're doing great. We're excited that you're back with us. And I know you had to take some time off and attend to some things, but you're always in the loop, I guess. figuring out what's going on and helping us transform the planet and save the world. You've been doing that all along. So what would you like to tell our listeners today? And then we'll ask questions back and forth.
Well, we all know that we have a lot of environmental problems and a lot of problems with poverty, and all that would be solved if they would release the zero-point energy generators. The government's had them since the late 1800s. The United States has had the way to generate electricity from magnetic energy through the ether, and it wouldn't cost anything in fuel. Tesla actually figured that out first in the late 1890s. And he patented that. So we've been hoping for the release of this technology for some time. We just don't know when. They are going to release the technology at some point. We just don't know when the secret space program is going to release it.
What do you think's holding it back? Do you have any insight into why they're not releasing it besides money, greed, control?
No. The secret space program. See, what's really interesting about the secret space program, when I was being recruited because of my discoveries in this particular area over zero-point energy generators, when I discovered that, then they kind of approached me and they said that there was a time deviation. And Randy Kramer talks about the time deviation. Corey Goode talks about the time deviation. Basically, what that means is that there was somebody went back in time and in an unauthorized manner had changed the way our specific timeline on this planet is supposed to carry out or is supposed to unfold. And apparently someone had made a huge time incursion and it has to be corrected. In order for the United States to get into the Federation of Planets, they were required to fix the timeline that they had screwed up. So that's the story of the NSA. That's the story the NSA tells me that's what happened. That's what Randy Kramer says it happened. That's what Corey Goode says it happens. So there are a lot of actual substantiations behind the NSA's telling me that's what happened. There's a lot of other people telling us that that's what happened.
Do you have any indication when this time intrusion happened? Because my story.
Yeah. See, basically the Nazis won the war, and then it happened around that particular period in 45? It happened around then, the time incursion where the Nazis didn't win the war. And the way that had happened was a huge amount. There was basically a technology dump load, a huge amount of technology, about 500 patents were dump loaded from one century into another by someone who traveled back in time and handed himself those patents. So he allowed the United States a huge jump in technology that it didn't have originally when the Nazis won the war. You guys with it? Is that too much?
Yeah, wait, let me unpack this, because I'm a little bit confused. Yeah. Are you following this? Okay, let me unpack this. So you're saying in our time, let's call this timeline prime, like they do in Star Trek. But this is regional time.
We're an unauthorized or an uncontiguous, non-natural time spur off of the natural timeline, and we have to basically come back to the original timeline where the Nazis won the war. So the Nazis didn't give the technology to the public. They actually treated this planet as a slave planet. They sold us all off as slaves to the Draco, and nobody ever got this technology, and that's how it really originally played out. And then the deviation was the Americans won the war, but they didn't win the war. And so in order for us, the United States, to get into the Federation, we're required to return the timeline back the way it was supposed to be, which requires them not to disclose the technology for some time. Because the Nazis didn't disclose the technology to the public for 100 years, 200 years, I don't know. It was a long time. Because remember, they sold the population off to the Draco when they won the war. You understand? For technology.
Okay. So let me just unpack
you want to
this.
suck that one in, huh?
Yeah, I just want to get head around
you ask these intense questions. You ask these intense questions, and then when I give you the answer, you're confused.
Well, I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you, so I just want to clarify what we're getting here. So there's the this is the false timeline because some time traveler went back and reintroduced the patents. Was that you?
No, it was Nikola Tesla. He went back and gave it to himself. Remember, it was Nikola Tesla that sold the Sixth Force and anti-gravity and Warp 1 spaceships. They sold that to the Nazis in 1929, and it didn't go well. And so he went back and he tried to change it by giving himself 500 patents 100 years sooner than they were supposed to be. Get it?
Does this have something to do with the Philadelphia experiment? Is that part of the crude?
No. See, people don't understand the Philadelphia experiment. All right, look. Nikola Tesla sold all of his shit to the Nazis. And the Nazis used it and they fucking took over the world with it. And the Americans all of a sudden were trying to play catch up, so they were trying to recreate his experiment to try to figure out what the fuck he was doing. And the Philadelphia experiment was an American mistake. It wasn't even Tesla's work. They were trying to copy his work, trying to catch up with the Nazis, and they couldn't do it. It was a bomb. They failed.
Wasn't he there? Tesla was there during the Philadelphia experiment.
No, the Philadelphia experiment is a real experiment. It's a Sixth Force experiment. It's an experiment on how to use the Sixth Force in order to cloak a ship. What they didn't realize it was to levitate the ship. They also didn't.
We have historical records.
There's a lot of stuff they didn't understand because they were just taking his notes and copying it. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. It wasn't Tesla's work. It was scientists trying to copy Tesla's work.
All right, so Tesla wasn't there.
Nazis bought that shit from Nikola Tesla in 1927 and had perfected it in 29 into a Warp 1 spaceship. Trust me, things didn't go the way that you think they went. So we're supposed to, part of the NSA, we're supposed to get back to that original timeline, which was they didn't really give us any of the technology. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a little bit garbled, and I'm having trouble hearing every word, so I'm catching every third word. But I'm catching it, but we got to maybe slow down and not talk so fast because it's the connection isn't that great. So, and I'm getting confused on the timeline because let's set a parameter here. So the timeline that we're on now is, let's call it the fake timeline.
No, the false one. The bad one.
We're on the false timeline.
Right, we're on we're on the timeline that's not supposed to be. That's correct.
Okay, so the real timeline, the Nazis won World War II.
Yeah, because they had the spaceships and they were perfectly functional. When they flew over the Capitol in 1952, the U.S. surrendered. You don't understand the total outcome of that situation. They didn't just fly over the Capitol.
That's why we're slowing it down. So we're all aware.
What they're trying to do there, if you're listening to Randy Kramer really carefully, he explains it really well. And so does Corey. If you really listen about the time deviation and what happened, it's hard to listen to both those guys. I get it. But anyway, Randy says we're nudging the timeline back to where it's supposed to be. And that means suppressing the technology is part of putting the timeline back the way the technology wasn't supposed to come out. Now, I don't know if they're going to release a lesser level or not. They may. I don't know. We'll find out. I'll find out. In my lifetime, I'll find out. I'll let you know.
So they haven't released to the public all of the technology. We're only getting bits and pieces of technology. So what technology...
But you're not getting any of the really powerful stuff, the zero-point energy stuff. You're not getting any of that. And I'm pushing for it. Lots of other people are pushing for it. Disclosure to us means the release of the technology. It doesn't mean drip disclosure like they're doing. You know, to many of us, it means the release of the technology, the unsuppression of the technology.
And you do have the technology.
You know, the humans have discovered, the United States discovered this text. We want it released. We want it, the public wants it.
Okay, so let's slow this down. Let me ask you a couple questions, okay? Let's just break it down. So because some of the listeners haven't heard your story before, and it's 6 months ago, so let's just be here now and break it down. So you have the technology, and when we last spoke, you were working on the patents. Did you get any of your patents approved?
Yeah, they're approved when you file them. A 1-year patent is approved when you file it. That's not the point. The point is that I can't get anybody to build them. The United States won't let anybody make them.
Right. So you'll have the patent, but it never gets made.
Right. So it's useless to have a patent. Nobody's going to make it. Nobody's going to make it. It's useless. I'm trying to get somebody to make the devices I patented. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Somebody make them, manufacture them large scale, 1 million, 2 million of them, Lots of them.
Are there any timelines for this technology?
No, they don't.
Is made.
No, they don't tell us what's going on. They don't say when it's going to get released or anything. They don't tell us, But I'll find out because I keep pushing. I mean, I know the answer is no right now. Next week it might change. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, there's no for them to release it. Why would they release it? They've got control of everything. They've got all the money. They've got all the power.
The original agreement was all based on us being sold to the Draco slaves, in the slave market, all of us humans on Earth. But the spirit beings came in and kind of put a kibosh to that whole plan, so they can't really deliver us up. We can't be delivered up because there's a barrier around our solar system that doesn't allow for us to be delivered up into slavery. So the deal's off. I don't know why they don't release the technology because the deal's off, and that's my argument. It's like, well, the deal's off. They can't deliver us up.
Well, corporate economic slaves.
If they can't deliver us up, then the deal's off. There's no deal. The deal's off. The deal was that they would. We would all be sold off into slavery for certain technologies, and the Nazis took those technologies. They took delivery of the technologies, and then they were supposed to deliver us up at the camp because of the outer barrier that the spirit beings put around our solar system. We can't be delivered up into complying with the contract that was made with the United States and the Draco for the technologies that they have. You understand? They also agreed. They also agreed to continue suppressing the technology. But my point is that if the agreement's kibosh, the agreement is no good anymore, then why are they complying to this continuing to suppress the technology? That's my argument.
Well, they've gone to Plan B, and Plan B apparently is to destroy the environment and cook us like a bunch of lobsters. And George Green was talking about that, killing us off and the depopulation bomb. I mean, if we can't sell all the cattle, then you slaughter them, right? So somehow they're going to reduce the population, probably.
I don't know, but yeah, that's always the thing about the secret space program. It's really, you have to assume the worst with those guys. I get it.
Right. Sash, please. What do you want to say?
I don't know. I'm overwhelmed by all this stuff, Janet.
You overwhelmed Sasha.
Okay, so let's continue. That's what the NSA told me. They told me, you guys, you got all this technology too soon. You aren't supposed to have it. You're not allowed to have this new technology. I said, wait a second, I invented it on my own. I didn't get it from anybody else, That was my argument was it was going to come to us anyway this soon on. Because it was inevitable, and I'm not the only one who's reinvented the key component, the cool stuff, Sash, the cool stuff. Anyway, yeah, Sash, it's pretty incredible. I'm just gonna continue to push for the release of the technology. That's all I can do. I asked if I could teach online, and they said yeah. So I went, okay, well, I think they're just recruiting, looking for smart kids. So I gotta start some website, maybe start teaching the technology. Technology is very helpful because it gets people to believe a little more in the reality of the aliens and the secret space program. If they understand the technology, they'll say, well, the technology is real. I have lots of people do that. I teach them the technology, and then they turn around and go, you mean aliens are real? That's the first question they always ask after I've opened their eyes to the level of the technology that we really have. Right?
Well, if you teach the technology, are they going to they're not going to let us use it, though. They're not going to let you.
What it means is, what they're having a problem with is that great, all right, I hand you technology, you don't know anything about it, you can't maintenance it, you can't fix it, then that's not how it goes. So to them, the secret space program management, to them, releasing the technology also requires releasing how it works, to kids to figure it out. We have a lot of cars and we don't have any mechanics. Get it? You
Right.
get it? You understand? All of a sudden you got millions of cars and nobody knows how to fix them. No, they want the technology to be taught now. And so I'm going to be allowed to teach the basics. We call it, 0-point energy basics. I teach the basics.
So they're going to allow.
So they want a lot of people to learn so they can have mechanics to fix the machines.
Right.
Well,
but they're not in place yet. It's just theoretical.
No, but the tool will go. I don't know. We'll find out. It'll be interesting, right? If I'm allowed to teach a lot of people how this stuff works and teach them how to make it, that'll be interesting. You'll have a lot of people saying, "Hey, what the hey," right?
Right, but if they learn it, why can't they just go in and take their own car and
that's what Kishi says.
Swap it out and put it in their own vehicle and
Correct, that's correct. And they can drive around, and when people say, "How come you don't put any gas in your car?" you say, "Well, I don't have to." Got it. There's nothing wrong with it. Who knows? But I have a suspicion that if it's going to be released, the technology is going to be released. It's going to be released by the big manufacturers. Right now, hey, it's really funny. I work for a company now, and they are Apple and Microsoft. Apple and Microsoft own the company I work for.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of weird, So I suspect that when the technology is released, it will be manufactured by a large company. I don't anticipate it being done grassroots. I really think that if the technology is released, then it will go, some big manufacturer. I don't know. And if it's going to be held closely to the U.S. press, the U.S. doesn't want to release the technology to anybody. They want to have all their own stuff. So I imagine it'll be a U.S. company that manufactures them. I don't think it's going to be one of the automobile manufacturers, though. I think it'll be a new company, but I don't know. Could be Apple or Microsoft might even do it. Apple's been talking about getting into the electric car market, so that wouldn't be so hard for them to come out with this.
So this is different than an electric car, though, correct?
Yeah, very different. That's why it's not the same. No, even electric car company won't help you do this. It's just special. That's why it could easily be a new company, a big new company like Apple and Microsoft throwing a bunch of money and making a new company. So who knows? It'll be interesting.
How if you throw some money at it if it's being suppressed?
What?
Are you approaching them? How will a company like Apple or Microsoft know about it to throw some money at?
Oh, okay. Well, if things go the way I hope, a company comes to me and they pay me to develop it, okay, in a certain place in the United States. This is all real. This is not fiction. The company comes to me, they want me to pay me, a salary to work on. I'm supposed to put together a prototype, and in a short period of time, within 6 months to a year, of prototypes. And then the U.S. military wants to look at it, and then so the talk of the town is they want to do the 1 gigawatt generators to put everybody on the grid. Basically, we're off oil. We'll just put these 1 gigawatt generators all throughout the grid, and all of our electricity will be produced for free. And they want to do that. And they also want to put these in all the military vehicles and everything, and on all the military bases and stuff like that. So that's the plan. But we never know if these guys are going to actually do what they say. But we'll see.
All right. So. I want to go back to the timelines. Sasha, do you have a question?
No, it's just that, I was reading about how the Saudis intend to be the last producers of oil, and they're going to fight to the very end.
No, they're not. There's two. In OPEC, there are 8 countries. There are 8 countries, the oil-rich countries, 8 countries, okay? And that's OPEC, 8 countries in the Middle East. OPEC consists of these 8 countries. So of those countries, there's a military base, a naval base on 2 of them. One is Saudi Arabia, and the other one is Kuwait, I believe. So the naval bases are where all the new equipment's going to go. It's going to go on those two naval bases. So those two countries, especially the one you just mentioned, they're all up in discussions with the United States about where these new big generators are going to go. And they want desalinated water because they're going to become an agricultural state and they know it. So the United States made an agreement with them. They said, well, you know, if you get off oil, if you stop selling oil for a car, you know, for gasoline usage, and you start using it for agricultural exclusively, we'll give you all the water you could possibly want. And they want about 200 million acre feet a year, which is a lot of water, but I know how to produce that because that's one of the technologies I worked on was plasma dissociation of seawater in order to get desalinated water.
Oil for water.
Well, yeah, they're basically, well, they're saying that we won't sell it for gasoline. We'll only use it for fertilizer. You see, they have a lot of sunlight, but they don't have any water, but they got a lot of fertilizer because that's what oil is fertilizer. Think of it as, you know, really rich fertilizer. And then along with fresh water from a desalination system I designed, they'll be actually a rich country because when you disassociate seawater, you get all the minerals to go with it, so they'll actually have a lot of precious metals as well that they'll be taking out of the seawater. So it's a very interesting operation. It separates everything into its original element. And so we have all the original elements and we can purify them. And so they're really going to be they'll set up manufacturing facilities next to the plants that are disassociating because you have every element you can think of comes out of seawater. So they're going to set up manufacturing plants. And so they want to become a completely different kind of economy. If this is the economy that they've agreed to go along with, this is their transition. You understand?
Wow. Yes, thank you.
And I get to work at it. I'm the guy, man. I get to do it. So if I get triggered, if they start me to work, then you'll know.
I'm sorry, I want to ask you, is this actually happening? Is this theoretical?
Well, we don't know. If I get a check and they start me off and I start working, then it is. Today it's not. Today I'm doing something else.
Okay, well that's what we want to get from the hypothetical to what's really going on right now and the steps in between because we're
all talking about stuff
and making plans and all this stuff, but we haven't got there yet. We have all these technologies, and so that's why I want to unpack it and how do we get there? That's a big question. How do we get there? So, what were you saying about the thing you read about the Saudis? They said they want to be the last one producing oil.
It doesn't matter. Dan's already taken care of that. I understand now.
Okay, so.
Oh, you get it now. So you get, Sasha, it makes sense, doesn't it, right?
Yes, it does.
They're going to use the oil for fertilizer. It makes sense, doesn't it?
But they're still producing oil for these engines are still running the world, the ones that are destroying the world.
But once you have a magnetic energy powered engine or a motor or a generator on your vehicle, and they're more powerful than what you've ever used before, and they just make it illegal to use gas cars. Those things are antiques, and you can only take them to antique shows. You can't even fire it up for any more than 10 minutes. I mean, come on. Seriously? You have no idea how inferior that technology is. It'll be gone in a heartbeat.
All right. We know it exists, and we're talking about it here. So what's keeping it from happening?
The secret space program, I keep telling you. You don't understand. It's all controlled.
Who's got the end to talk to them? We're talking about the secret space.
I told you, Marilyn Houston. She won't talk to you.
No, she won't talk to me. Does she talk to you?
You know, you keep thinking that there isn't a group that's in command. There's a group that's in command, and Marilyn Houston's one of them.
Right.
Well.
So, as long as these people are sitting on it, we're still in this slave culture where we have to pay exorbitant prices.
Yes, and that was all part of the original timeline. The original timeline where you were all sold off as slaves in the original timeline. But the spirit beings came in and they changed it timeline. They changed the original timeline. They came in and saved us from that. And so we're kind of free in a sense, but they don't know how to release or if they want to release the technology. So we'll see. We'll find out. You gotta understand
who took
spirit beings when they put technology?
What about the story that Trump got Tesla's time travel equipment because of his uncle John Trump.
Trump did what? What are you talking about?
About Trump got the time travel technology because his Uncle John was given the Tesla technology because his Uncle John worked in
Nobody
one of the big companies.
Nobody time travels without strict scrutiny. However Tesla pulled it off, I don't know, man, but there are time regulators that are all over that stuff. No, it ain't so simple. The U.S. has got total control over it. Because they don't want any more screw ups.
So who's regulating it? Is there a board of time travelers?
Super Federation, the 60 alien species that control this galaxy. They're called the Super Federation of Planets. There is a federation of planets called Super Federation. We're not on it. We're being inducted as the 61st species, but we haven't passed all of the tests and regimens that it takes years and years to go through. We're just in process of being inducted into the Federation. But there are 60 alien species that regulate time throughout the galaxy.
So how do they know somebody's launching an experiment? Is it something
they know when they have all that detected? They sense all that stuff. They sense all that, and then they're all over it. Like I said, I have no idea how Tesla got away with it, but he pulled it off, and he did this time excursion thing, and now we're all paying for it in a sense. But I don't know, maybe this is a better timeline. We'll see what happens. Like I said, the spirit being surrounded our solar system, and that changed everything. And we're hoping they're going to release the technology. We'll see. Unsuppressed.
So let's go back to the other timeline, the one where the Nazis won. So tell us about the differences between that one and this one we're on. What did they do? They
sold us all off to the Draco.
No humans are on Earth anymore.
They created a fault. They created a false flag, and then everybody went off with the aliens. 90% of the planet left with the aliens because there was supposed to be a catastrophe that didn't ever happen. And then we all got delivered up into slavery because the Nazis took technology in exchange for everybody. They took technology. They traded technology for people, and they already got the technology, but they never got to deliver us up because the spirit being showed up and surrounded our solar system with a barrier.
So what happened to the Earth on that timeline? Are there any humans left? Just a bunch of Dracos running around?
What happened to who?
You said there's 10% left.
What happened to the Earth?
90% were delivered. 90% of the Earth planet, everybody went off in spaceships and got delivered up into slavery. Everybody agreed to go because there was going to be an extinction event, a false flag extinction event, and everybody agreed, and they all left with all the aliens because the aliens were going to come and save them, but they were really being delivered up into their slave planets. And that's what happens. That's what happens in the normal timeline. But that all got changed when the spirit beings showed up and surrounded our solar system. That all changed. Don't you get it?
Okay.
In other words, the original timeline, rather the Nazis were in charge, would have changed because the spirit beings showed up.
Right. So we're in a better timeline.
Whether the Nazis were in control or the U.S. was in control, it makes no difference. Once the spirit beings put up a barrier around the solar system, we can't be delivered up according to the contract. We can't be delivered up to the Draco. 90% of the planet cannot be delivered up. We can't keep the agreement. We took the technology, but we can't pay for it because we got surrounded. We got with a barrier that can't be penetrated, and the Draco can't penetrate it either. Nobody can. So we can't be delivered up to the people who contracted for us.
I understand. I got that.
All right.
So who's running the Earth? Who's running the Earth then?
A group of corporations. There's like 12 top corporations. They're all the aerospace companies, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin. They're all the aerospace companies. They rule the world.
And they're human? They're all human?
Yeah, they're human. All their boards of directors. And the people that own them. Own the stock, the major stockholders.
So it doesn't matter who holds the
actual individuals, not holdings, not holding companies, but the actual individuals who run the company. And the individuals.
So how is slavery any better than that slavery?
What?
How is this slavery any better than that slavery?
Break it up. I can't hear you. Try again.
How is this slavery to the corporates any better than that slavery to the draconians?
No, it's
all
the same.
slavery.
That's why. No, it's the same. Corporate slavery. You were indoctrinated to be a slave. You were raised to be a slave. You don't know any other existence. Just because you do it in some other planet, it won't be any different than it is here. It's slavery. Your whole lifestyle is economic slavery. You are in a slave system. To basically acclimate you to your slave existence on the Draco planets.
Right.
Well.
So, are there any, in your cosmology, are there any places where human beings are free?
Oh,
what
sure.
Like?
Yeah, there are many species that are humanoid. There are 60 of the Super Federation. There's 60 species that are humanoid type species, like the Ellen. They're very advanced human species. They're free. They don't have these. They're not in the situation. We're a real up and coming civilization, and we have problems. We did these timeline deviations that we have to fix and stuff like that. And we just got this technology, and it's all new to us. And anyway, we're up and coming. I hope they unsuppress the technology soon. Within my lifetime, that would be nice.
So this Tesla, was he human or what? How?
He's
was
human.
He that he could,
no, Nikola Tesla was human. He was human. Sorry, he was human.
How did he?
He invented all that stuff. He invented all that stuff on his own. No alien gave it to him. He gave it to himself from the future. Now that's cheating, but the original stuff was all the original work that was done by Tesla. So if he gave himself anything, it's his own work. No, Tesla's not. No, Tesla's a human. He's a human. Tesla's a human. I know he's a human because I rediscovered half the stuff he discovered. So I know how he did it. No, he's human. It's not infeasible. It's not infeasible to do what he did. I know because I redid it.
Did he have contact with extraterrestrials and work with extraterrestrials?
Yeah, as soon as he figured out warp 1, he sure did. That's the prime directive. You don't talk to any civilization that doesn't have warp 1. Well, guess who had warp 1 first? Nikola Tesla. Of course they talked to him.
Okay, so he had the technology.
1929, he had the first warp 1 spaceship, and that was the spaceship that he sold to the Nazis that they took to the moon and to Mars.
So they've been
1929.
The Nazis have been in space since 1929.
1929, we've been going to the moon and Mars. The Nazis have since 1929.
Right, and that was part of the Real Society.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can you explain that to our listeners? A little bit more about that?
I'm not that familiar with the Brill. That would be Sasha's bailiwick there,
We haven't studied the Brill.
Yeah, either. I don't know that. I don't know that much about him.
Okay. Well, that's okay. You don't have to know everything. Sash, what's your question? Comments? Come on.
There's a lot of other, accounts that basically that the Nazis are in charge of the United States through Allen Dulles and the people they brought over. It's not that they didn't win; they did win.
Yeah, there's that whole thing that they're just down in Antarctica and South America, and they did win. They just kind of faked us out and sent over parts of paperclip and all the over 10,000 Nazis, and they took over the space program. So, what do you think about that?
That information is all correct about Operation Paperclip and all that. Yeah. Is that what you're asking? If that information is correct?
Yes. What from your sources?
No, that information is all correct. But the Nazis, they control all the companies. For example, they spent Mercedes-Benz spent $250 billion and they purchased Chrysler and Jeep, and nobody knows that the American companies, Chrysler and Jeep, are actually Nazi-owned, straight up. And nobody knows that Ford was bought out by China. that's another interesting thing. But anyway, so of course GMC's, we don't even know who owns GMC. It's stocks all over the place. Anyway, guys, so what else?
Well, we're unpacking all this. So what's going on in Antarctica?
I don't know. The last time it was when Kerry went up there, Secretary of State, and he went up there in November of 2014. He went up there in 2014 in order to negotiate a treaty. Apparently, there was a big treaty. All the nations were participating this time, and apparently they've all been briefed on why the technology is being suppressed, and they're just not telling the public. That's part of the agreement, I guess. So everybody got together in December 2014. But since then, I haven't heard what's going on up there. You mean as far as releasing the all that?
There's supposed to be a bunch of stuff that's emerging because the ice is melting of more ancient technologies and other races and species. And I just wonder what your thoughts are on what's down there. I know. So who were they? Who were they negotiating this contract with? And I thought it was
the Draco, the ones that have the Antarctica under their control. The Draco, they're the ones that had that, and that's where they let the Nazis come in have bases up in Antarctica. That's all controlled by the Draco. That's why nobody's allowed in the area that's owned by the Draco.
So are they in charge of the Earth still?
The Draco? No. Well, they made agreements with the Nazis, and then the U.S. have complied with those agreements, yeah, to an extent. The U.S. has gone along with those agreements to an extent, but like I said, the Spirit Beings put a kibosh to all that. So the U.S. is pretty happy that the Spirit Beings came in and put a kibosh to the Draco's plans. Dracos really don't have they can't do anything anymore because they can't take us, and they can't take us away to their planets. That whole plan got put on hold, so to speak. There are people in the United States that think they're going to be able to take down the outer barrier that the Spirit Beings put up, but they haven't been successful so far, and I don't think they're going to be successful in taking down that particular force field. Right, Jess? Right. So if they're not going to be able to take down that force field, we can't be delivered up, and then we have to be unsuppressed, right? I mean, there's no reason to suppress the technology anymore, since the whole purpose of suppressing the technology is you weren't going to get it anyway because you were just going to be a slave. That's not on the program anymore, then they should suppress the technology, right?
One would think it, but it seems like they really they get their jollies by keeping us primitive and controlled.
Well, that's my whole argument. My whole argument is, okay, so when are we going to get it? I keep asking. We'll see. I keep trying. I keep working at it. So who
are you talking to? How are you trying? Who are you talking to? What are you doing?
People that they've asked me to build them, and I tell them how much I want on a monthly basis, for salary to work on them and the kind of lab equipment that I require and stuff like that.
Are you asking too much?
No, just a regular salary, engineer's salary. No, nothing extravagant at all. Regular engineer's salary, nothing at all, really.
And nobody's biting.
No, that's not it. They have to decide whether they want the technology released. They have to decide that before they hire me. You understand? In fact, if they hire me, then I know the technology is going to get released. Get it?
Can they like hire you and control your patents?
No.
They never,
no. They don't own my patents. I own my patents. They only get a license to use my patents. They don't own the patent. I own the patent. All my patents. Get it? Yeah. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, so you own your patent.
Right.
You're not allowed to make it, or you can't find anybody to make it. So couldn't you make it in your garage?
They just want a license for their use, but they're not going to take the patent from me. I get to keep my own patent. That's what you asked me.
So couldn't you make a model of this for your own generator, your own car?
No, I don't make that kind of money. I can save up for a few years to try to put a lab together. That's one of the things I want to do, but it'll take me a little while to save up the money and build a lab and stuff like that.
So it would cost a lot of money just to build what, you're saying?
A lab.
So it's not like
a laboratory. A laboratory. That takes a little bit. So it got to take money to build it. So if these guys come up with money and to build it, then that's all different. But if I have to come up with the money on my own, it's going to take me a few years to save it up.
So you need a whole laboratory. You couldn't just do this in your garage or something.
No, I don't have. No, I'm not in a garage right now. I'm in a little apartment. There's no building anything in a little apartment.
But there might be somebody out there that could help us out here.
Well, we'll see. We might put that together. Like I said, it'll be a few years in put my lab together. It'll take a few years for me to do that.
Right. So in the meanwhile, you want to teach the technology. Maybe somebody out there that you teach.
Yes.
Might be able to
they might have more facility than I do. Yes. That's the other reason. You got
so
that.
What's the obstacles to teaching? What obstacles do you have to teach?
I don't know. I haven't gone online yet, so I don't have any students yet. I haven't gone online yet.
Okay.
I gotta write a web page and all that, right?
So all you have to do is put up a web page and then.
Then I'll advertise. I'll advertise on your page, let everybody know I'm doing it.
Okay. Let's do it.
So like I said, we'll see. I'll see what they're doing. I'll see if they're going to release the technology.
Yeah, but we could all be dead before that happens.
Well, I hope not.
At least. Well, it's like it's been a promise since Star Trek, and now it's 50 years ago, 60 years ago. A lot of us have died late to this technology. We know about the Federation. We know all this stuff is out there. It's like a big T.
I know.
Like, when am I going to go?
They're so bad like that.
Yeah. So, I can't trust that they're going to do it because they have a different concept of time. They're not bound by our rules. They've got, well, you're in a 20-back program, right? So you serve 20 years, you come back, and you get regression, and you're in a body that's young again.
Right.
Like the average person, they don't give a shit if we die. Here, just die. Grow old and die. Remember that. Catch diseases. So what about the other parts of it? Like diseases. So we get the energy. So all these other technologies.
Well, if you have unlimited energy, you can program nanites to live in your body for the rest of your life, and most diseases can actually be controlled with nanites. Most ailments and most diseases can be controlled with nanites. You know what a nanite is?
Yes. Explain that to our listeners.
Tell the public what a nanite is.
Tell our public what the nanite is. What is a nanite? Tell our listeners what a nanite is.
Who are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, a tiny little robot that's just the size of a blood cell. So it's easy to program. It's easy to program. It's easy to program to make adjustments to your body, your physical ailments, chemical ailments, whatever ailments you have. Most ailments can be solved with nanites.
So wouldn't people be reluctant because they'll become Borgs?
Oh, hell no. Everybody will love it, having nanites in their body. They'll eat it up. Everybody will love
it. We already do, according to Miller.
We have nanites.
You'll all love it because you'll have perfect health. You'll have perfect health with nanites in your body.
Health. What about the technology that takes us over and makes us all into robots?
Makes us all what?
We get all bored, like in Star Trek. We become robotized and we lose our free will.
No, that doesn't do that. The nanites don't do that. They don't take over your body. No.
But could they be programmed to take over your mind? See, people are. What's the pros and cons of getting an implant? I mean, that's like getting an implant, right?
Yeah.
People don't want to get chipped.
Yeah, you have an implant that basically controls, all your medical problems, But it won't take over your body or your mind or anything like that. They won't do that, but it doesn't matter. They have the technology to do that. It's just,
Well, everybody's afraid of getting chipped.
Chips.
Yes. So, what are the pros and cons of getting chips? The nanite is just one part.
The Draco really love the enhancements. Those are called enhancements. The Dracos really love that. A lot of them, they pay a lot of money for high-tech enhancements, you know. They just love that stuff. Half computer, half person, you know.
Right. And we hear from the secret space program people that some of them have been chipped. They've been used to pilot ships. Have you heard about all that? Okay, so let's go back. So you were in
the thing is that the technology is so advanced that they don't need chips. They can basically find you, whoever you are, from your DNA. They don't need chips.
Great. So your body that you're in is a clone.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. What does that mean?
Well, when you're in a 20 and back program and you come back, you don't come back with the body that you used there. You come back with the clone body. When you go off in the 20 and back program, like when you're 17 and you get deployed, they clone your body at that time and do another 17-year-old body, put that one on ice, and then you're 17, you go fly away in a cruiser across the galaxy and you go engage in a military service for 20 years, and then your body's 40 years old. Then you zoom back to this planet. You have a 40-year-old body. You can't return a 40-year-old body to a 17-year-old, mother. So the clone comes back, and the 40-year-old body gets destroyed.
What happened to the one that was on ice? You said they put the one on ice.
That's the one that comes back. That's the one they let come back. That's the one they let come back onto this planet. Is the clone one?
Do you have any memories of? How do you kept some of the memories of what happened when you were a clone, but not others?
No.
How it worked?
No, I remember everything when I was a clone. I remember everything from this lifetime, no problem. You're talking about, do I remember stuff from my other lifetime?
Yes, okay. Yes, I'm wondering.
Yeah, I do.
I remember
something. Yeah, I remember some missions. I've related some missions to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of stuff. I remember lots of stuff from that timeline from when I was a super soldier. I remember lots of stuff. Not everything.
So, but that's what you can back engineer, the stuff that you observe.
Oh, no. You can't. You're a fighter. You don't know anything about the technology. You know of the technology. You don't know anything about how to make it. You're a fighter. I'm a fighter. I trained how to fight my whole life. I didn't train anything. I wasn't a physicist. The chance of me becoming the chance of me becoming a physicist in my clone body is like so slim. It's incredible.
There was something happened that motivated you to get the education so you could communicate at this and find out for yourself. It's not exactly back engineering, but it's a stimulus diffusion. You got some ideas and you're developing them now.
Yeah, that's possible. It's possible that, from knowing of the technology that it was easier for me to reverse engineer them, yeah.
Right.
That's very, very possible, yeah.
A lot of people know how to look at something and figure out how it works, or at least imagine it, and then it becomes clear over time. So it seems like you got exposed to a lot of technology that was way in advance of what we have. And if you can just wrap your mind, then you can go, okay, here's how it works, because there's something that got activated in you.
Yeah.
You're now creating these things. So, did you see, in your travels, did you see any of the mechanics of it? Were you, like, in the engine room, so to speak? I don't know what the equivalent.
No, they usually keep us secluded, because, we're a very special group. In Darkfleet on the cruiser, we had our own quarters, and nobody could come near us. And we didn't go associating with anybody else, because we weren't allowed to talk to anybody. So on the ship we had our own quarters, and it's basically we didn't talk to any of the other personnel.
Were you beamed down to the planets, or was it always in the ship?
No. We either took shuttles, fighter shuttles down, and then you get dropped, like off a rope, like the Special Forces does, or they beam us down. They'll beam us down to a spot.
Right. So, do you know how to do beaming technology?
I have an idea. Yeah, I have an idea. Yeah.
You have an idea. Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're coming up to a break in about 30 seconds here. So, when we come back, what would you like us to cover in the second hour?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even know what your interest was this time. I just thought you were going to ask a bunch of questions.
Well,
what is it that you wanted to know? What more do you want to know?
We want to know everything, but we don't know what you know.
Well,
so
you just have to ask questions. Just ask those questions.
Well, I just thought you might have some questions that we can ask that will help us go the next hour. But we'll figure it out. And so we're going to be back for the second hour, and we'll figure out where to go.
All right, let's take a break.
Yeah, we're taking a break. We'll see you. I guess the music should be up now. Thomas, are we on a break now?
Still got another minute yet.
Wait for the music. We have another minute. Okay. So everybody left me. So Thomas, how you doing? What's your next show that's coming up?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Round table.
And so I was on your round table. What time is your round table?
11 o'clock in the morning. There's the music.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Wadiya will remain a dictatorship. Oh, be quiet. Why are you guys so anti-dictators? Imagine if America was a dictatorship. You could let 1% of the people have all the nation's wealth. You could help your rich friends get richer by cutting their taxes and bailing them out when they gamble and lose. You could ignore the needs of the poor for healthcare and education. Your media would appear free, but would secretly be controlled by one person and his family. You could wiretap phones. You could torture foreign prisoners. You could have rigged elections. You could lie about why you go to war. You could fill your prisons with one particular racial group, and no one would complain. You could use the media to scare the people into supporting policies that are against their interests.
Tune in Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, for Liberation Nation with Deacon John, where America comes to hear the truth.
I know this is hard for you Americans to imagine, but please try.
Ohio Exopolitics will be on from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Studio A. Mark Schneider will have guests on that will discuss many important topics, including the state of the world today. However, much of the show will be dedicated to the writings of Edward Albert Meyer. Let me read a short passage from one of his writings. Love is the highest principle of creation, and through it, everything exists in absolute logic. All of nature in its indescribable splendor is nothing but the love of creation, which is expressed visibly. The love of creation is everywhere, because without it, nothing at all would be able to exist. Please join Mark on Ohio Exopolitics from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Studio A.
It is no secret that the so-called mainstream media is best described as controlled propaganda. countless news stories are either totally ignored or spun with half-truths, and because of this, essential facts and vital information are often compromised. Join Dr. Ott every Friday night on Studio B at 10 p.m. Eastern and learn why The Story Behind the Story was nominated for a Peabody Award in its second year of producing unparalleled broadcasting excellence in 1997. That is, if you really care about learning the truth.
Transcending time and space, let us take you to the place inside your mind where thoughts divide and mysteries unwind. Join us every Monday evening right here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you will catch the Fenton Perspective with our great host, Lorian Fenton. Come listen in as she shares her amazing stories from the past to present, along with all of her guest secrets to the future. That's the Fenton Perspective every Monday evening right here from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Revolution Radio. Oh, and you don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
Several years ago, I was developing a very severe situation. I called it my flippy heart. It was doing not good things, and I did not want to go to a medical doctor because I just knew they would give me a cover-up pill. I didn't want to get onto that sort of thing at all. When I learned it was garlic and cayenne, and cayenne is a healer. It is a wonderful herb. I said, I think I'm onto something here. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be without it. It did wonderful things for me.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Aloha and welcome back to Stargate to the Cosmos. Aloha and welcome back to Stargate to the Cosmos. I'm your host, Janet Lessin. My co-host, Dr. Sasha, Lessin, and our producer is Thomas Becker, also known as a Mad Painter. This is Revolution Radio, Studio B, and our guest today is Dan Cooper, and we're talking about free energy systems and alternative M-drive sources for energy for us so we can free humanity from slavery. We're also talking about the 20th Back program. Dan was from 1955 to 1970 was trained by Japanese and Shaolin sword fighting instructors to sword fight at various secret space program underground military facilities throughout Japan and the United States. And in 1970, he was deployed and served in a 20 and back program, the joint U.S. German Nazi military SSP contingent known as Dark Army. So he was engaged in numerous covert military operations. His primary function was dueling with swords, and he prevailed in numerous duels. this galaxy and several adjoining galaxies. So we have in our space program the ability to travel not only through our solar system, but throughout the galaxy and adjoining galaxies. So we're going to talk about that. And before we get back to our show, I'd like to remind everybody to please go over to the donation button on revolution.radio and make your donation, because we really need your donations. We are listener supported, and we'll rely on your donations to keep the lights on and pay all the bills and keep bringing you these wonderful shows like this and the other 60, 70, 80, 90 shows that are on Revolution Radio, broadcasting almost 24/7 on Studios A and B. Dr. Sasha Lessin, hi, you're back.
I'd really like to know a little bit more about what you're inventing, what is it, and what does it do, and how does it do it, and perhaps in terms that an intelligent 12-year-old can follow, so I can understand what you're doing.
So welcome back, Dan.
Oh, that's cool. Everybody knows that a wind generator moves a bunch of the propeller. You have a bunch of magnets hooked to the propeller so that when the magnets are run past coils, they generate electricity. It's called induction, inducing electricity. By moving a magnet past a coil of wire, you induce a voltage, and that's how the wind generators work. They blow those propellers, and the magnets run past the coils that are inside the box where the generator makes electricity. So we all know that if we move a magnet past the coil, we can generate electricity. We know if we move the coil past the magnet, we can generate electricity. But what people don't understand is you don't have to physically move anything to do that process. You merely have to fluctuate the magnetic wave, the permanent magnet. You just have to fluctuate the magnetic wave, and that's all you have to do. And you can do that in solid state. You don't have to nothing has to move, which means that, like with a box where nothing moves, solid state device, the size of a shoebox can run your house for 30 years. The size of a 6-cylinder engine will actually run out.
How do you get it to perturbate like that?
I'm sorry.
How do you get that without any moving parts? What makes it start fluctuating?
You're fluctuating a magnetic wave. If you give a magnetic energy path, two separate paths, and you put a switch in between the two, then you'll be able to fluctuate a magnetic wave between both paths if you have a magnetic switch. And if that switch uses less electricity less energy than the amount of energy that the system produces, then you have an over-unity device that's solid state. All you're doing is fluctuating the magnetic wave. You're not moving anything. A magnet doesn't have to move past the coil. Only its magnetic energy has to move past the coil.
Got it.
So the trick is it's pretty easy to do it in solid state. It's all about the switch. And you can look it up, Dolan. The Dolan switch. He proved that for a quarter of the electric energy, 1/4 the electric energy, he could flip a magnetic circuit that was 4 times more powerful than the switch, than the energy switch. 4 times more powerful. That's Dolan. And he did that, and the Chinese patented it in 2016. He figured it out in 2007, and then I copied the Dolan switch. I actually perfected it. I didn't just copy it. So, these things are pretty easy to prove to people because all the academic articles are there. Right? Is that your question?
There was just the guy who lived with us for many, many years, and he had these magnets, and his were on a swivel, and they kept bouncing off each other with opposite energies, back and forth and back and forth. Looked like he made a little perpetual motion machine. So
that thing physically moves, and that's always but when you want to make a really powerful one like I did, you don't want nothing to move. You want the last 30 years, you don't want nothing to move.
I got it.
Great, yeah. That makes sense.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Oh, it's pretty trippy. They're very excited. They want me to put them in all kinds of vehicles, big vehicles. I'm laughing. That's their first interest. Well, we'll see. That'll be cool if I get to do that.
Well, anywhere we start is not starting at all. So
well, I'll let you know what's going on. I talk to them all the time, so I'll let you know what's going on, you know.
Well, it sounds like water's the first step that everybody can take. Nobody loses from desalinating water, and it sounds like it's perfect.
Right. They're really that was their big interest because they want to complete that contract. Nobody has a desalination system. No one's designed one like the one they want. And so they asked me to do it, and I did, and then they want to commission me to make them, you know. Well, it's actually make one. It's one big, huge unit, and it gets put on the military base in Saudi Arabia. And the other one is in Kuwait. The two Navy bases in the area.
That was a demonstration for the world. That's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the world will come and look at it. Yeah. Yeah, a big, huge desalination system that I invented. Yeah. That will be a lot of fun. But that's their primary interest. They really want to appease the oil company, the oil countries to get them off of oil, you know, not to worry so much about their future. Because they're worried, it's like, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do if nobody buys our oil? What are we going to do now, you know? And so, you know.
They have the capital. They have the capital to set up your plant. They have unlimited money. You know, it's perfect. It's a match.
Right. You understand now. So that's what we're hoping on, that they'll proceed. So they don't even give a shit about my generators. They're really into my desalination system in the United States. We'll see. I hope it happens soon, you know.
That could be used anywhere. That could be used in the United States. We have a lot of desert. We have a lot of places that need water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, water everywhere. Easy. No problem.
Everybody needs water.
Yep.
Anywhere. Africa. You could.
And then we have free energy pumps to pump it up anywhere you want. Free water anywhere, as much as you want.
I was watching a YouTube where they were replanting Africa, and once they, you know, had the water to start replanting, then the waters came back, and the streams came back, and the rivers came back, and the deserts stopped drying, and that lowered the carbon for the planet, for the location, and around the planet, and then we stopped killing ourselves.
Right. Well, that's the idea. That's the idea of unsuppressing the technology, so that there won't be any starvation or any want. Nobody will need anything. It'll all be provided.
Yeah, we have to provide the basic needs for everybody, so everybody has.
Right. Everything will be provided. There'll be no problem with magnetic energy powered generators, motors, and engines. Everything can be provided for free. And the government may require everybody to go to school and to actually work a job. They may require it, even though you don't have to, for economic purposes. But the government may require it. We don't know.
So let's look at the economics of all this. If you were working on the economics when you were in college, and you taught the Chinese how to defeat the U.S. in business, and you figured they had been denied a seat at the table with the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, the ICC, and so you helped them become financially able. Anyway, tell us a little bit about that backstory. Then, how is that working today with the what do they call those? The fees they put on
tariffs.
The tariffs, yeah. So you were there 35 years ago when this whole thing started, and now it's playing out now.
Right.
Catch your listeners up on what was going on back then and how it applies to what's going on now.
Well, in 1985, the United States Secret Space Program made a treaty with China that they would give China certain technology, and they would allow them certain a number of their people to get into the program and learn more about the Secret Space Program. So the Chinese signed the agreement in 1985. And then they were supposed to be able to become economic dominance over the world for 100 years. It's part of the agreement. China gets economic dominance over the world for the next 100 years. That's part of the agreement. And so I got involved in helping teaching China how to do business, because that was part of the agreement in 1985 with the Secret Space Program, with the real people who run the world. So I got commissioned to teach China how to do business, and all I was doing was was teaching them something that they, you know, we'd agreed to give them. The United States agreed to give them economic power over the world.
So why would they do that? What's the logic behind that when they have this?
That was what they agreed. You know, instead of giving them all the technology in a whole bunch of different worlds, they told China they have to take it step by step. You know, they're going to enter the new world, meaning high technology and stuff like that. In 1985, China had nothing. They didn't even know there were aliens or secret space program or any of that shit. So they came on board in 1985, and they didn't really get such a good deal out of it, you know, as far as what they should have gotten out of it, because they agreed to suppress the technology as part of the agreement.
Right.
They agreed to suppress the technology if they get economic dominance over the world over the next 100 years.
So this shift in power is something that gets decided at a different level. So this human game of, you know, United States against Russia against China is just a game, because it's already been decided who's going to be the shift of power for the next 100 years. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, it's not really. I mean, you know, they want China to be the economic power because China didn't make an agreement with the Greys. China was the only country that didn't sign an agreement with the Greys. I'm sorry, the Dracos.
The Dracos.
China was the only country that didn't sign an agreement with the Draco. So the United States and everybody in the secret space program, they were in favor of China having economic dominance over the world, having the power economically, because they have no agreements to abide by with the Draco. You understand?
So what's the United States and Russia's agreement with the Draco and other countries?
All kinds of stupid shit. Like give us all up for slavery.
And who signed that? Was that Eisenhower before? No, you said it was back in the 20s?
Eisenhower did that as part of the treaty of 1957. Eisenhower brokered the treaty with the Nazis. And they all agreed that they would give us all up to the Draco, 90% of the planet.
What was the logic behind that? Why would Eisenhower
They sold us technology. They sold us to the Draco for technology.
And who in the world would sell out the human race? That sounds horrible.
90%. The other 10% were just supposed to work their ass off here. So you know, no different than before. Anyway, but that didn't happen because the spear being stepped in and stopped it in December 2014.
I know, it seems logical that somebody would trade off the whole world for some technology when there's no people left to run it.
Oh,
you're
just a piece of meat to them.
But isn't Eisenhower human, or was he a Draco? What was his story?
No, Eisenhower wasn't a Draco. He just surrendered. He was just the idiot that surrendered the United States to the Nazis. He had no choice. They won.
Oh, okay. So they won. How did they win? They just
they had these Warp 1 They had these Warp 1 spaceships. They flew over the Capitol and said, "Surrender, or we'll destroy your capital." And so they surrendered. Come on, the 1952 flyover. Look it up. The 1952 flyover.
I've seen the flyover. I haven't seen this information that they surrendered.
Well, you're not going to see that information. That information is from the original timeline. That's when the time split happened. That flyover. That flyover. What really happened was the United States surrendered.
Okay. So then Tesla came back.
Tesla? He was the idiot. He was the idiot that sold stuff to the Nazis.
And changed the timeline, and he came back from the future. So is Tesla alive in the future?
Yeah, he came back in when did Tesla die? 1946 or 47 or something. He came back around 1945, and he beamed himself. He beamed himself to himself in the 1800s, and he handed himself 500 patents.
Oh.
And that changed everything for the United States. And then he told them give it to the United States only. So that changed everything. That put the United States had all that technology before the Nazis did.
So who's got his time travel technology? Who's got Tesla's?
No, Tesla did that. Corey explained it pretty simply. He said if you can travel warp 1, you have time travel. Because the technology is the same. Corey just said that. That's exactly correct. You can travel warp one. If you can travel faster than the speed of light, you can control time. It's that simple. This is the same technology. But, Corey doesn't know what the technology is. I know exactly what the technology is. So, yeah, you can travel in time. It's no big deal. But you're not allowed to. Everybody knows. You don't do it because you'll get punished.
Well, when you're traveling in space, aren't you traveling through time at the same time? Isn't it time-space travel?
No. You can travel in time. When you're traveling in a temporal drive ship, you're traveling in time. That's allowed. You're allowed to travel around through time, but you're not allowed to do things to change the natural timeline. That's what time is for. It's for traveling. Just a means of traveling quickly from one end of the galaxy to the other. And as far as your question about traveling from galaxy to galaxy, the Ganymede, our moon is not a stone. It's a satellite. It's an actual piece of machinery. Our whole moon. Ganymede is another moon that's a piece of machinery. It's not an actual natural phenomenon. It's an actual satellite. It's a piece of Ganymede, one of the moons around Saturn. Ganymede is a piece of machinery, but it's a very special piece of machinery. It's a galaxy-to-galaxy jump gate. It's a galaxy-to-galaxy gate, and there's only 3 in the galaxy, and that's one of them. And the United States took it from the Greys militarily in the summer of 2014, the Battle of Ganymede. So the United States now controls the galaxy-to-galaxy jump gate, one of the 3 in our galaxy. So we're not doing so bad. There's not telling you.
Where did these jump gates originate from?
Who put them there?
Yeah, who put them there?
The ancient builder race, the first advanced humanoid aliens that went out throughout the universe. They were the ancient builder race, and they're the ones that built it. They built Ganymede. They built that satellite. The whole thing's a damn machine, and they built it.
And what is our moon? You said that's artificial.
I don't know what our function is. I don't know what the moon's function is as a satellite. I have no idea what its actual function is as the entire satellite of the moon. But I do know that it's been used for observation for over 250,000 years. You know about the glass domes on the moon, right? Right?
Yeah. What's glass domes about?
Those are observations. Those are observatories. They're people observing us from the moon, from these glass domes over the different craters, so that they can make those places under the glass biospheres, and they have rivers and lakes and streams, and they're 25 in diameter. They're pretty big. 25 miles in diameter. These things are huge observatories. They have rivers and lakes and streams under them and everything. You can actually see them. You can actually see from the photos the Chinese produced in December 2013. Little Rabbit.
So do they control the souls once we die and we're recycled back and forth? Do they have control over that whole system of
who's they?
Life, death, birth.
The Draco? The Draco? No, the Draco don't. No, the Draco don't have souls. No, the Draco don't have that technology. That's like really restricted technology.
There's a story
soul catching and stuff like that. No, the Draco don't do that. They don't try to capture souls. They don't do that.
There's a story that this is a prison planet. It's always been a prison planet.
We would never been allowed in the secret space program. Wouldn't exist if that was the case. Oh, that's right. You don't believe in the secret space.
So how did we get into the secret space program? How did we get invited into it to begin with?
We discovered Warp 1. That's like, the first step in the entrance of the being able to start to talk to everybody. The prime directive, you're not allowed to talk to anybody unless they got Warp 1. Well, that's Nikola Tesla developed Warp 1, and so they started talking to us. It's just the nature of the development of sentient beings. As soon as they discover Warp 1, you can start talking to everybody. Other than that, nobody's supposed to talk to you.
So who are we talking to on a somewhat equal basis?
Well,
Which species?
We've got up to where we're going to be we're the 61st inducted species into the Super Federation. You got to remember that there's over 3,000 sentient alien beings of different varieties throughout our galaxy. 3,000 is a lot, and only 60 of them rule. That little club, that little Super Federation, they rule the galaxy. And that's 60 species. That's 60 species out of 3,000 warp capable species. We call them spacefaring species. There are 3,000 spacefaring sentient species, advanced species. And of those, 60 rule the galaxy, Super Federation. We are being inducted as the 61st, so it's a special honor. We're doing pretty good.
So, why do they like us so much that they're going to make us the 61st?
Well, because we control the Ganymede Gate, for one thing. We were genetically engineered to be special, and we are. We were genetically engineered by these 60 people. These 60 groups genetically engineered our race of humanoids specifically to be better at lots of things, mostly building. They give us ancient builder where we can invent stuff. We invent pretty good, and that's what they want. That's what they were looking for. They were looking for people who were very creative, and they designed us to do that. And that's why we've become the 61st species, because we were genetically engineered to be the 61st species by that group of 60 that rule the galaxy.
So the other 3,000, what's their rule?
Where are they?
They're all,
they have a realm. They have realms, which means more than one solar system is a realm. If you have two solar systems in a single government controlled area by one species or more species, and they control the same area, that's a realm. I call that a realm. A lot of the reptilian realms are over 1,000 solar systems wide altogether, which means it's pretty tough to go around. Adds a lot of space. But anyway, we have the local bubble, which is the realm we're in. We're in the local bubble, which is 52 stars near us, and that's a very heady little group, the local bubble that we're in. Does that help you a little bit more to see how things are?
The local bubble is humanoid or combination?
No, the local bubble is the local 52 solar systems, each with their own planets. We're in one solar system, and we have 8 planets around us, right? Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, there are other solar systems, and they all have planets around them, and there are 52 that are close to us called the local bubble, and they each have a bunch of planets around them. Each of those 52 suns in the local.
Who inhabits?
And that's the realm that we're in. We're in the local bubble realm in our galaxy. Get it?
Right. And who inhabits those?
52 stars, 52 solar systems. It's a little realm, but it's cute because it's got the Ganymede Gate. It's very special because it's got the Ganymede Gate.
So, are we interacting with, the Greys and some reptilian species and some mantis? This is a story that there's 5 or different species, 6 or whatever, that we're interacting with and we're in some kind of alliance with. Are we on friendly terms with any other alien species?
Yeah. Out of the 3,000 spacefaring sentient species in our galaxy alone, we have embassies on 900 of those of their primary planets. We have embassies. We have bases and embassies on those planets. Out of 900 of those 3,000 have aligned with us. They're our allies.
So how do you go to those, as a human being, how do you get to go to one of these embassies? Be an ambassador.
You don't get to choose. You're one of the slaves. You don't get any of this technology. Sorry.
But, you just wanted to go and be an ambassador on another planet. How would you?
They're not gonna take the slaves around for a cruise. No, ain't gonna happen. No, unless they unsuppress the technology, you ain't getting around. But if they unsuppress the technology, yeah, you'll be getting around.
Wait, you said that you have embassies. Are these our human embassies on these other?
They have a special cruise where they take you around to all the 52 local solar systems. A real special cruise. They already have it planned and everything. Oh yeah, you're going to be getting around when this stuff gets released. Oh yeah. They got a special. They got a special 2-week. You know, you go to Mars for 2 weeks, and I forgot which one it was. Prime, one of the main 5. Is going to become a tourist hotel, and you go there for 2 weeks on Mars and then you can take other trips from there throughout our solar system, or to the regular 52, or even further. Be all kinds of work.
So, have you been on these?
Well, no, I served. I served on Stargate. I visited lots of planets. Oh, you mean in this lifetime? No, I haven't been to any of those yet. You will though.
All right, I will. Sasha, ask a question or feedback. We have another 20 minutes.
Well, okay. Farrell's talked all about Iapetus, one of the moons of Jupiter, and points out that it's got these same kind of uniform craters all over, and all the evidence of hollowness. And it sounds like it's a huge version of the same kind of technology that Luna was made of, and that this place is where I'm thinking is one of the places where Kramer and those guys have their meetings. I wonder if you have anything on Iapetus.
Well, Kramer meets with a 3-star general. Meets with him, actually calls him in, and he goes to the local base. It's the base that's next to his house. Near his house, he goes on that base, and that's where he meets his commanding officer, and that's where he gets his information from. Corey, I don't know how Corey gets his information, but he gets his instructions also from the U.S. military. I just don't know how he does it or where he does it. But he moved recently, also near a base, so I think he also goes on base and does that. Gets briefed, goes on the local military base, special meeting, and then they get briefed and they get told what to tell everybody.
Wow.
Sorry.
Do you get briefed on what you can say and what suggestions about what you should say?
Yeah, are you meeting with anybody?
You have an audience?
Are you meeting with anybody?
You're talking to your audience? Or are you talking to me?
Talking to you. Yes, you.
What are you asking?
Are you getting briefed? Do you have any insiders that you're meeting with that you're getting your intelligence from?
Yeah, but they're telling me they want to release technology. Well, I say, yeah, sure, let me see, you know.
So how did Corey and Randy get to the level where they're getting briefed on an ongoing basis?
Corey actually did serve. Both Corey and Randy both served in the secret space room. Corey was an empath he says he served 3 20-backs. It's possible he might have done 60. It's possible. But he was selected because he had an exemplary career with the secret space program. That's why he was selected to do the drip disclosure, because he had an exemplary career with the secret space program. So did Randy. Randy was the one that he's our most highly decorated soldier in the U.S. military. The Bresches loved him, and that's why he was the one that got selected to do the drip disclosure. You understand?
Well, didn't you retire with the high honors because you were the champion and you?
No, I never got selected to do this. I don't do this drip disclosure thing. I don't agree with it at all. Not at all. I want the technology released.
Okay.
I don't care about funny stories. That's fine. You know, great. Give me the technology. Where's the beef? Show me the beef.
Show me the beef.
Well, okay, let's just talk about beef. One of the things that's obvious from our interviewing people is that they don't have to raise and kill animals to be nourished, and that most of the skyfaring people, manufacture food that works for them. What did you eat? What was it like? What did other people eat?
Well, we were in Darkly. We ate a pretty meat wasn't off the menu. Remember, we're Japanese, and so we ate all the Japanese cuisine.
But where did the beef come from?
The Japanese and the Nazis were never vegetarians. They all ate beef.
Food. When you were traveling,
they would kill a cow. They just buy it from a farmer.
So when you were in space, what were the meals like? How did they get food?
How did
they preserve food?
A lot of it's replicator made, but a lot of it was natural. All of our greenery was natural. Meaning we had hydroponic greenhouses all over the ship, and that's where our vegetables and our salads came from. So even though we had some replicator foods, part of the meal would be replicator, but part of it would be homegrown. Right?
Yeah, because that was one of the things that Keshe was talking about. How do we have enough food when we travel in space? I wondered how you guys solved it.
We have replicators which can change any energy into any other form of energy, which means we can make a meal out of it. It replicates our meal. We tell it what meal I want, a steak, and it gives me a steak.
Does it replicate the plate?
What?
The plate.
I tell the computer, give me a steak, and it gives me a steak. Those are real. That replicator on Star Trek, that's all real technology.
And it's on a dish, and the dish gets replicated as well.
Yeah.
And it's in a cup, but it gets replicated.
Changes any form of matter to any other form of matter. That's what replicators do.
Does it taste good?
It's seventh force technology. I know how to do it.
Does it taste good?
Well, yeah, it tastes great. It tastes just like the original. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. It's not a microwave. It actually replicates it for real. It's real. It's real there. It's not a phony. It's really there. You've completely made that. If you can transport people, right? You can definitely replicate any steak or any meal where it's a perfect copy. If I want a special French meal, I would have it replicated. I would just give the meal and it would be there. So our replicator, we have really good replicators. We could replicate any meal we wanted, any gourmet cuisine, sushi, rolls.
The food that was replicated, was it healthy? It didn't make you fat. It was all nutritious.
No, we were working out. We were working out from the morning we woke up to the moment we woke up to the time we went to sleep. We were working out. There was no getting fat. No, we burned it up. We burned up a lot of calories, and the doctors wrote.
Like a scientist that might be sedentary, working in the lab and not really working out like you guys, they would be able to survive on that food and not get fat like eating at McDonald's.
Well, the scientists they were more on a diet. If they go to they're going to the doctor every week, and if the doctor says you need to go on a diet, they get ordered to go on a diet. They go on a diet. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So there's no fat science.
So the diet would be controlled, but it would be tasty. It would taste good. So you would get food.
It's great. That's how it tastes better than the original.
So one of the things that's happening on our planet is that we are developing foods that taste just as good but aren't harmful in terms of raising cattle that make forests get burned down. Basically, that's something that's happening. It seems to me that it's the same thing that we hear about the extraterrestrials. They manufacture food that works without ruining everything in the process.
Right. So we have that technology in the program.
So if you were to take the replicator technology to a place where people are starving, what would you use as the base material to replicate food?
It doesn't matter. It could be sand, it could be garbage, it could be feces, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. Any matter whatsoever. Rocks, anything. Anything can be transformed.
So we could go over to the dump and start taking all this dump stuff and replicating it into things that are useful.
Yeah, gourmet meals, yeah.
And we can teleport it anywhere on the planet. Can you teleport food?
Yeah, but it's actually cheaper just to put it on a barge, a shuttle that goes from ship to the surface. It's a lot cheaper. Less of a hassle. You can always bring more in a shuttle than you can beam it up in a small beam.
Okay. So let's envision this world with all this technology released. Tell us what the world's going to look like. Because you've experienced it.
Green. That's why we call it green. Green. Everything's green.
Will that stop the oceans from rising?
Yes.
We get into this technology. What's making the oceans rise? The CO2?
You're
What's the
talking
science
about
behind it?
Global warming problem can be solved.
What's making that happen?
That can be solved within 25 years because we have ways of temporarily freezing the Arctic. We have machines that can freeze huge blocks of water and to make it ice instantly. They're going to put those up there temporarily until they fix everything. They clean up the
What about the toxins in the air? What can we do?
They're going to clean up those with reclamators. They clean up the air, change all that into something else.
Say that again. They clean up with what?
Industrial reclamators.
How do they work? What's that? Tell us what that is.
They use this. It's the same replicator technology. Instead, they take all those chemicals and they change them into something else. Just like a replicator will take any material and change it to any other kind of material, and will make gourmet meals out of it. Industrial reclamators, that's what they do. They change the contaminants into something else.
So you could take dirty air and kind of replicate it into clean air and take out all the toxins.
Right. Yeah, we're able to change the matter. Right. Instantly.
That's what the Israelis did on the Sinai. And Enki did it even before that. You can clean up radioactivity that way.
So you know how to do that technology? Yes. You have that?
Yes. And they want the basics of it. The plasma system I invented also takes all nuclear waste and nullifies it, makes it non-nuclear.
So you could right now clean up Fukushima and
all stockpiles of nuclear waste are gone in a year.
So are you the only one who knows this?
I'm the only one working. I'm the only one working in this area. Yes, that's why they want me to do it. But we'll see if they let me. I don't know. They haven't let me yet.
Well, that's the problem. It's like we have the solutions, so you can clean up that. What about the oceans? What do we do with all the plastic in the ocean?
Oh, it just goes and collects them. It's no big deal.
Say that again.
We go and collect all the plastic and then change it to whatever we want to change it to. I already invented the machine that does it.
So how would you gather all the plastic? What do you do?
We got a ship that runs on one of my free engines. It just goes around and collects it all. Goes around and collects all the plastic, then changes it into something else.
So they could do that right on the ships?
I can do it right now, yeah. I have the technology.
So they could you could even, without the engines, you could just take a ship that we have now, go out to a place where the plastics have gathered.
Right.
And you could make products out of that.
You make products out of it, yeah. Anything you want.
Yeah. So
gourmet meal, whatever you want.
So if you were to go out tomorrow on a ship that somebody gave you, and you could put the equipment to transform the plastics into something usable, what would you make out of the plastics? Like
Me?
the first product. Yeah, you.
A wind farm.
Pretend,
I just want a nice meal,
So you'd go out to the ocean and you'd gather up the plastic and you'd make gourmet meals and bring it back to everybody.
I would make a meal and I would have dinner, and then you guys can have the rest.
Well, but you have so much plastic, you could feed. How many people do you think you could feed with all that plastic?
Well, then everybody's invited to dinner.
Everybody's invited to dinner. It's all on Dan. He's making dinner. I mean, see, there's a lot of ways you can take this if you have these technologies. Now,
of course, you can make anything out of it. You can make anything out of it, anything, because you disassociate the plastic into its individual elements. You can make anything. Because the ocean has...
that's, you may not get the engine out first, but maybe you could get that technology through.
Yeah,
wanting to clean up.
they seem to be more interested in that, and everybody says the same thing. I want this first. I go, I laugh. Like, yeah, okay. They want that first. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really matter where you start, as long as you start somewhere, and you start training people to work with you to replicate these technologies around the planet. And soon we've cleaned up the ocean, we've cleaned up the air, we've cleaned up the nuclears, we've cleaned up everything. We've got everything green again, got everything growing.
How about justice and equality for women?
Yeah, the social system. So if we have a slave system, can we replace this current social system, which is so atrocious?
Well, it would be nice if everybody was involved, in the secret space program. And I don't like that. I think everybody should know what's going on. But until they let everybody know what's going on, they're not interested in sharing power.
What about just doing what we can do?
You don't even know what's going on. How do you have any power? You don't. You don't even know what's going on. How do you have any power? So if they if they let everybody know what's going on, then we'll see if they're going to share power.
Well, I'm just looking for the yes, where we can start. Because you're telling me everything's a no, and they're not letting it. So if we could just find one yes, one little, it's kind of like the elephant in the.
You got it. It's the desalinization.
Yeah, the desalinization or the plastic. If you get a yes somewhere, you start generating money, and you just be independent. You keep doing it on your own, and you don't wait for anybody. You finance it yourself. So if you start with what you can do,
that's what I'm doing.
Like the plastic or the desalination, and then you be Tesla. You be our generation's Tesla, and correct what he did wrong. Whatever he did wrong, you correct it.
I'll fix it, yeah.
I mean, we're running out of time. What about reversing of aging? So you think those nanobites could go in and...
Yeah, what they do is they add your lifetime. They add on to your lifetime, which they keep you healthy all the time, so your lifetime will increase to 150 years. Just from that one. Just from that one improvement, everybody's lifetime will increase to 150 years. Hardly anyone will die. I mean, you have to do some strange accidents to actually get killed. So, and then your lifetime will increase to 150 years. Healthy, too, the whole time.
Right, yeah. So we increase our life expectancy to 150 years, and then what do we do about overpopulation? Well, if we had the space program...
Well, you're allowed to travel all throughout the solar system, so a lot of people actually want to go to the other planets, but... It's not a problem with here. You'll just have more controlled cities, bigger cities. A lot of people go there, but a lot of people actually want to go to the other planets.
So aren't there species that
live there? What?
Aren't there species that love humanity and are helping us, and they're just waiting for us to do something that we have to qualify to be the 61st? What is the magic thing we have to do? We have to twitch our noses?
Well, they have to fix the timeline, so it's not really something that happens right away because it's going to take quite a while to fix the timeline that they screwed up. So they're required to fix the timeline as part. I don't know how they're coming about that.
Well, what do they do to fix the timeline?
They're doing okay at it, but I don't know. I got no reports from anybody on that one.
What's broken that we need to fix?
Have to return it back. Have to return it back to the way it was supposed to be after the Nazis won the war.
So we give it back to the Nazis and they sell us off to the Dracos?
No, they're not doing it like that. Everything got sold back to the Nazis anyway. You just don't know it. You didn't know that.
So what?
You didn't know Mercedes. You didn't know Mercedes-Benz owns Jeep and Chrysler. You didn't know that.
What do they want us to do? What specifically do they want us to do?
You're already doing it. You're going to work 9 to 5. You're already doing it. You're already doing what they want you to do. You've been doing it for years. You go to work 9 to 5.
No, to fix the timeline.
They just don't want they don't want the technology to be unsuppressed because it wasn't unsuppressed for over 100 or 200 years. When the Nazis took over, they never gave the technology to anybody because they sold everybody off as slaves.
Okay, so we unsuppress the technology. So we start with the yes, the one we can do desalinization, and nobody's going to stop that. We can take plastic and make it into gourmet meals, and we can put it on barges, refrigerated barges.
Stop nuclear testing.
Yeah. Would those things be enough to start the process of releasing technology?
Cleaning up the ocean, freezing the Antarctica for a while till we get everything adjusted. There's a lot that has to be done, but those are primarily the things, getting, off the combustion engine, getting away from combustion engines. It won't take very long, I think 25 to 50 years, and we can actually make the planet pristine. We can return the planet to a very pristine, beautiful condition. And within 25 years with technology, it can be done in very short order. Very short order.
I'd like to see this happen. I want to find the timeline where this happens. That I can get to the 150. I think once we hit 150, that technologies will change and we'll reach escape velocity. That's what. What's his name? Aubrey de Grey, Dr. Aubrey de Grey.
Oh yeah, and nice, healthy 150 years. That'd be fantastic.
Right.
All right there, all doable. Just from basic inventions that I invented, all that's doable.
Dr. de Grey said that we can shift it so we all live to be 1,000, and then once we get to that point, it'll be escape velocity. So it said we have that ability in this form to live to be 1,000.
I think the real challenge is how to live today.
Anyway, we're doing a hypothetical thing. So, what's the first thing you can do that you can actually do, Dan? Because you got all this information. What's your first?
Well, my first prototype is going to be a small generator, and then from there, a lot of people want to view a lot of high-ranking Secret Space Program personnel. They want to review my prototype, and then because they like the design, and then they just want to see me prototype it, and then we're going to go and put them in a lot of vehicles, military vehicles first, and then large 1 gigawatt generators to put on the grid everywhere. But they'll never tell you what's going on. All of a sudden, we won't be on oil anymore, but they won't tell anybody what's going on. Those are all secret installations that they're planning. Is that what you want to know, the specifics? I'm giving you the specifics. I'm giving you a lot of detailed specifics.
That's too slow. I'm looking for a timeline where this unfolds faster because, I'm getting old.
25 to 50 years. You mean once they start? Once they start, I'll let you know when they start. I know I'm involved, so I'll let you know when they start.
So I'm looking for the timeline where this accelerates, where I can enjoy it, not my.
I don't know when they're going to release the technology. I keep pushing all the time. I don't know when they're going to release it, but I keep pushing. So we'll see what happens. If I keep pushing, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll make it quicker.
Right. I mean, they can quicker. It doesn't have to be 25 years. That's ridiculous.
No. It takes 25 years. How long it takes once you have the technology in place? How long does it take it to work? Is what you're asking. How long does it take all the technology to return the planet to a pristine condition? 25 years minimum. It just takes that long to get everything to go the way. You know how long it takes to grow a tree? You're not really looking at it realistically. Anyway, to return the planet to a pristine condition, it's 25 to 50 years. Employing all this.
We have trees here in Maui. They're called albizia, and they're 20, 30, 40 feet high in 7 years. So really fast-growing trees.
Yeah, we're gonna fix all that.
Amazing.
I know how to fix all that stuff. I know how to fix it all. Once they release the technology, all that stuff gets fixed. Very easy.
Hey, Jeff, you have no idea what it's like in the Amazon compared to here. The albizas are like little grass. We're talking about trees that are 200 feet high.
Right, but I'm saying what they did in Africa is they got the short trees growing, like these little junk trees, but even that was sufficient to bring back the grasses, to bring back the animals, to bring back the rain, and to bring back the rivers and the streams.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
All that within 50 years. All that within 25
that was within a year or two. It was just amazing. It was like, wow, this thing it can recover a lot faster. Okay, we have 2 minutes. What would you like to tell our listeners in the last 2 minutes?
I'm right there at the cutting edge, so I'm able to get a pretty good grasp as to when they're going to start releasing, if they're going to start releasing, what they're going to be releasing. So I'll let you know as time goes on. Periodically, we'll keep in touch so that you can get informed right from the physicist's mouth himself.
And you're going to start some classes, so
that'll really help. Yeah, I'll start classes if they don't put me to work right away. I'm just going to start teaching it. And that'll help quite a bit. I have a lot more people asking questions.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll post that on our website when Dan starts his classes. And anyone who wants to sign up, contact me at aquarianradio@gmail.com. Okay, anything? Final words?
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Sasha.
Okay. We have to talk till the music comes, so keep talking. What else can we say?
Well, you get more time here? What's happened? What happened?
We have to go until the music starts.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
Mad Payne, you have a last question for Dan.
Go ahead.
Are you there, Mad? He's on mute.
Yeah, I'm muted. There's the music.
There.
Good night.
Mad Payne, thank you so much, Dan. Thank you, Sasha.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
We're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week. Yes. But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting. Yes, I see. By a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs. Be quiet. But by a 2/3 majority in the case of more... Be quiet. I order you to be quiet. Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look! It's just a flesh wound.
I don't believe I've seen such a display of courage, skill, nerve, grace, and stupidity.
I'll do you for that. Oh, what? Come here. What are you going to do, bleed on me? I'm invincible. You're a loony. The Black Knight always triumphs.
Roundtable Live Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. Eastern Time. Bring your mind, bring your ideas, bring your voice. King Arthur had nothing on us here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com.
Most guys freeze. That's your cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows you're screwed.
The body's filling with adrenaline right now, whether you know it or not. Your heart's beating fast. It's getting a little harder to breathe. The neurobiological system is telling it to run, but your knees are too weak to move.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting to danger. Unafraid. Right here, where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio!
The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite, surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing, in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct